Live from a studio apartment, this is Misinformation. Literally, so many technical difficulties tonight. I don't even know. I don't even know what's happening anymore. There's been so many technical glitches. Hold up. I also just worked out. You know, most hosts, they show up in a suit with a tie. I just show up in a Lululemon shirt. Just did some uphill sprints. Those were pretty good. You guys ever do those? You gotta run one of them uphill backwards. That's the key. Makes you strong before your live stream. Do I have sound? Anyways, sorry for the delay again. I'm trying to set it up so it's got more channels, but it's just whatever I do, it keeps failing. So I had to start the stream twice. I still can't get it to work. I think we got sound though. Okay, so we'll do some jokes. Let me pull it up. These are a little janky too tonight. We're gonna try it out anyways though. There goes my fridge, along the lines of all technology causing problems tonight. There's also a moth. There's a rogue moth flying through my live stream. My ring light is the only source of light in this apartment right now. It's definitely going to cruise through here. There's a bus outside my window. For the love of God. Well, the leading cause of death amongst Iranian regime leaders is now officially U.S. airstrikes. Yeah. Leading cause. Beats out pagers and martyrdom. Stoning really fell off at some point. You don't see it too much anymore. That's a body pillow on my bed, by the way, not an actual body, just FYI. Yeah, so another Iranian leader was killed the other night in a U.S. airstrike. He was the Minister of Intelligence, so apparently he failed. Sounds more to me like he just got fired for performance. Didn't see that one coming. Well, this is an interesting story. The children of former Iranian regime leaders have been exposed for teaching at U.S. colleges. Now, apparently, the B in MBA stands for bomb. Had no idea. How did they ever fit in? Well, Mamdani's wife was accused of saying the N-word on social media. Yeah. As she clarified, she said she was just talking about Gavin Newsom. He's been trying to relate to black people recently. Apparently it's working. Them's the jokes. we'll move on to the news portion of the show. Let me pull this stuff up. Yeah, so we're probably on Twitch and, oh man. Sometimes I like pull up Twitter and it just pulls up something really interesting right out of the gate. I love it. Let me see if this works actually. Nope, gotta unpair it. You get to see the behind the scenes crap. Restart capture, okay. Another technical problem, just whatever can go wrong will tonight. Another technical problem, just whatever can go wrong. How's everyone doing, by the way? If anyone's there, there's a couple people there. What's up? What's up, guys? Okay. So this was what just randomly pulled up on Twitter. This is actually a story. This is the guy who, you know, we had those two attempted mass shootings last week, I think it was, on the same day. This was one of the guys. This was the guy here who rammed his car into the Jewish synagogue. I guess they're all Jewish, but all synagogues. So he rammed his car into the synagogue. I guess he was planning on. I think he had this gun with him. He was planning. So this is a picture that he sent to his sister. Is the story, like the day before he committed the attack, right? So apparently he was planning to jump out of the car and shoot a bunch of Jewish children that were at that synagogue at the time. Some like reports are saying it was like over 100 children that were there. Luckily, he got wedged somehow in a hallway. Like he drove his car, I think, so fast to break through it that he got jammed into a hallway. And I believe the story is that the security guards just shot him because he was in the car and he couldn't get out. Okay, but this was the guy that the media initially, I forget which paper was reporting it, but when they came out with the story, they had this whole sob story about his family was killed overseas in the Middle East, in Lebanon, I believe, by an Israeli strike, and you know, so he was grieving and the loss of his family. Later comes out that they were apparently Hezbollah fighters, and then you have here's the innocent guy here who lost his family. The militant photo of him getting ready to go into a synagogue. So that's that guy, yeah. They have a little context there. Okay. What's going on? So, I mean, a couple big things. We got some Iran updates tonight. There's more airstrikes. We're taking out leaders right and left. Karg Island's a big topic. Strait of Hormuz. There's some action there. And we're going to ask the question, do we think that Trump is going to put boots on the ground? Right now, all these polls are coming out. MAGA's loving the war. There was I think yesterday there was a CNN poll that was released that said like 89% of MAGA GOP supports Trump's actions in Iran. Today, I think I saw a poll, I didn't look into it. It looked like they had a poll on CNN that 100%, I don't know how you even do that, but they said they claimed 100% of MAGA supports Trump's Iran's actions. And really the basis of that is they support it so long as it's fast and efficient and we're in and out and we get to claim victory, right? Now, if you put boots on the ground, that's going to drastically change things, drastically change the game. But there are some rumors about that. There's a big oil attack today. We'll get into that. And then Joe Kent, the guy, the Trump insider from yesterday who resigned very dramatically, had a whole letter about how he was resigning. Turns out he may have been in some hot water beforehand, so this may have been more of a forced resignation type situation. So we'll get into that stuff too. So first up, another, we led with one of these jokes. Another terrorist leader, Iranian regime leader, was killed in an airstrike last night. It's like every day I have the same story, I have the same jokes, because another one bites the dust. So this was Fox News here saying he targeted U.S. officials, including Trump. This was the Minister of let me fix this real quick. We're probably going to have to troubleshoot this technical glitch throughout the evening. Let me know if this freezes up for some reason. All right, so this is the guy here, the Iranian Minister of Intelligence, Esmaeil Khatib, was killed overnight in a precision strike. They had been offering a reward for him. They finally got him. Eric Daugherty on Twitter, who I really like his account. You guys should check him out. He has great updates on stuff. He says it's official. The Iranian official who targeted President Trump, I guess he called for assassinating him, has been killed in an airstrike. Esmaeil Khatib directly targeted Trump, helped shut down the internet, instituted spying, and had American blood on his hands. Alright, so he was taken out in that airstrike. This was... We'll go back to this. This was from yesterday. Someone posted an image of this. And they said, totally normal graphic on the front page of the New York Times. Totally normal graphic on the showing you the New York Times. It is a funny graphic. It's got the dead leaders all on the left, and then the other, which I'm assuming means still alive. This was somebody making a funny comment about it too, just while we're here. Because somebody tweeted about it. They said, Iranian leaders eliminated by the New York Times. And this person here says, rarely has one comma done so much. Because without the comma, it would sound like the New York Times had eliminated them. Thought that was a funny one. They're doing these big, like, I'm calling them like dead terrorist trees. It's just showing you all of the branching. Take a look at it. Diagramming. It's a diagram. The latest blows to Iran's leadership. This guy replaced. So Mushtaba, the guy at the top, we don't even know if he's alive. Rumor has it he's dead or injured. And then we have down here, Ali Larijani was just killed, I think, yesterday in a strike. Important note about him in a sec. We'll just kind of get into it, actually. So his daughter, I learned this today, is actually a medical doctor who taught at Emory University in Atlanta. So we let off with one of these jokes too, that there's actually they found that there's a bunch of these children or relatives of Iranian regime leaders that are teaching at college universities throughout the U.S. Like random associations with terrorists, and they're all in U.S. colleges. So this was one of them. This was daughter here. I think they have an article about it. Iran confirms brutal leader Ali. Well, this was about him being killed. This was the guy here. I don't know if they had that in this article. Maybe it's a different one. We'll look for it in a sec. But in any case, this is the airstrikes trees. There's Mario Nawfal with a slightly better one here. So we saw that one just a second ago. I'll be honest, I don't know what half of these guys do. These guys are all dead. So we're shooting a lot of people, basically. That's the gist of it. Somebody had a funny tweet about it here. They said... It's getting to the point where if you're an Iranian official and Israel hasn't killed you yet, it's a bit insulting. It's pretty good. So this is the article on the Iranian regime leader children that are teaching at colleges. It's from the New York Post, actually. And they have some pictures of them here, and here is the article from the New York. I think we need a different article from the New York Post. Let's click on this. This is the article from the New York Post. Okay, children of Iran's regime leaders are educating America's students at colleges from New York to Los Angeles. So this, I believe, is so this is Layla Khatami. Says she's a professor of mathematics. Oh, let me reload. Let's do this. Restart that. This is Layla Khatami. She's a professor of mathematics at Union College in upstate New York. She is the daughter of Mohammed, a Shia cleric who was president of Iran from 1997 to 2005. Okay? So we got here, right here. The big one I wanted to talk about was the daughter of the guy that died yesterday. That's got to be pretty crazy. So here's her. I wish that would stop popping up, but okay. Here's her on the top left. Fatima Larijani. Imagine being in the U.S. and you're I believe, teaching at Emory University, they'd said, and your father is an Iranian regime leader who was just killed in an airstrike yesterday. First of all, before we get into the right and wrong and stuff, that's a crazy life story. Somebody says here in the article, I would think that there would be a security risk as Iranian academics have been critical in forming public opinion on the left in the U.S., essentially deceiving liberals into thinking that the regime is more progressive when it's still advancing the same hardline agenda. That's from Jonathan Sayeh, an Iran analyst. Okay. This is the daughter of Larijani they're talking about. She's a medical doctor who taught at Emory University in Atlanta. Fatima was, until recently, a doctor at the university's prestigious Winship Institute until the university parted ways with her in January, following pressure from dissidents. So I guess people signed petitions and everything and called for her ouster at this college because there are, dissident groups amongst, I think, Iranians and people that don't like the Iranian regime who were calling for her removal, basically. So they did remove her. She was herself a cancer survivor who initially came to the U.S. for treatment, and then I guess was cured or fixed and ended up teaching at one of these universities. And they have a bunch of pictures of different people. So here's one, here's another person here. Aissa Hashimi, a professor in Los Angeles, is the son of Masameh Ebtekar, who was a spokesperson. It says here spokesperson, which I think is apropos. It says here spokesperson, which I think is Iran doesn't have spokespeople. They have spokespersons. For the radical students who held American diplomats hostage for 440 days during the Iranian Revolution. So that's pretty crazy. There is an argument to be made for why are we allowing the family of terrorist leaders into the United States, let alone to teach at colleges or to even go to colleges, right? That seems absolutely crazy. There's one here. You've got... In New York, Layla Khatami, the daughter of former Iranian President Mohammad Khatami, teaches mathematics at Union College. In Schenectady, he was considered a reformist within the country's political system. Dissidents say he's still part of a government that condones human rights abuses and repression of its own citizens. Following the airstrikes, her photo and bio were removed from the mathematics department's faculty and staff webpage. And her aunt is a granddaughter of Ayatollah Khamenei. So pretty crazy. So yeah, that's basically what the New York Post article is stating, is there's a bunch of people they found who are Iranian, nieces, nephews, children of Iranian regime leaders teaching at colleges or going to colleges. This guy here is an associate professor of medicine at the George Washington School of Medicine and Health Sciences. His father is a prestigious physician and a previous deputy director of Iran's health ministry. They're all here. They're all here. I feel like that's the easiest thing to blend into. Like, that's the perfect disguise. If you are the sibling of a terrorist, and you want to blend in the U.S., join a liberal college. Literally no one will notice you. You'll be fine. Only if we attack your actual country, then people might start doing a little digging. They made it this far. We had some news out of Iran. There's bunker busters are being used now. We saw those being loaded up last week. It says Israel kills Iran's intelligence chief while the U.S. jets drop new 5,000-pound, that's crazy, it's like a car, bunker buster bombs on anti-ship missile storage sites. Iran fires 13 more ballistic missiles and 27 drones here at the UAE. There was we should cover this a little bit today. This is kind of breaking right now. We had a statement from Trump on it. But earlier today... do I have it here? Maybe this is not updated. Oh, here it is. Earlier today, there was a strike on an oil field or a gas field out in Iran. Israel struck, I guess, the largest gas field in Iran. It's called South Pars. And apparently this strike was, I don't want to say unplanned, but it was unnotified to the U.S. Israel, based on Trump's tweet recently, was acting alone. Let me pull this up here. This internet's freaking out every time I like switch windows for some reason. How can I get it to just stop doing that, maybe? How can I get it to just stop doing that, maybe? How can I get it to just maybe pull it there? Let's try it. Anyways, this is that gas field. Mario Nawfal on Twitter has got some footage of it on fire here. Mario Nawfal on Twitter has got some footage of it on fire. Number one, this supplies a ton of, well, he mentions it here. South Pars accounts for 75% of Iran's gas production. Gas fuels 85% of Iran's electricity grid. So this is a really important civilian facility, right? So you don't see the U.S., I don't know about Israel, but you don't see the U.S. aiming to target a lot of civilian infrastructure. And that's what Mario points out. This isn't just hitting military targets anymore, it's crippling civilian infrastructure. And then it's affecting the world gas prices, too, which you know has got to piss Trump off. Because he see what's kind of funny, I appreciated about him actually, is while he's managing the war, he's also trying to manage the world economy. He's cognizant of the fact that anything that he does can affect the economy. He doesn't want to have a negative effect on things, right? So he's definitely monitoring gas prices and everything like that. And he released this tweet. This was kind of breaking about an hour ago. This is from Trump here. It's from the White House account. They posted this. It says, Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. A relatively small section of the whole has been hit. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar, isn't it Qatar? I pronounce it American, it's Qatar. I pronounce it American. The country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen. Unfortunately, Iran did know this, unfortunately, Iran did not know this or any of the pertinent facts pertaining to the South Pars attack, and unjustifiably and unfairly attacked a portion of Qatar's LNG gas facility. Iran fired back, basically, against another gas facility, which compounded the problem, okay? Trump says, no more attacks will be made by Israel. Naughty, naughty Israel. Go to your room. Pertaining to this extremely important and valuable South Pars field, unless Iran unwisely decides to attack a very innocent, in this case, Qatar. It's so funny how he's managing. He's trying to smooth this whole situation over. He's just managing the kiddies. He's managing the kids' tables, you know? You go to your room. Don't hit your brother back. You go to your room. Nobody hit each other's gas fields. That's it for gas fields. It was a mistake. They'll say they're sorry when they're ready. I'm apologizing on their behalf right now. With or without the help, it will massively blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field in an amount of strength and power that Iran has never seen or witnessed before. So he's threatening to blow everything up if they do anything. I do not want to authorize this level of violence and destruction because of the long-term implications. But if Qatar's LNG is again attacked, I will not hesitate to do so. He's got great negotiating leverage right now because he's been a little wild. He's been a little crazy. He's been wild. So even though you're like, I don't think he'll do that, you're like, but will he? So even though you're like, I don't think he'll do that, you're like, he stole Maduro in his sleep. In his pajamas. So yeah, pajamas. That was the big update from Day. I guess we got an update from Trump. You know he's. That was the big update from Day. I guess we got an update from Trump. You know he's. Okay, so that's Iran right now. Let's talk about boots on the ground. What do you guys think? Are we going to see boots on the ground? Talk about boots on the ground. What do you guys think? Are we going to see boots in this military action, as Trump is calling it? He's trying not to even call it a war. He's saying it's a military action. What do you guys think? Trying not to even call it a war. He's saying it's a military action. What do you guys think? So the you know, we just struck. We had all these airstrikes, massive airstrikes on Karg Island, which is a big. Let's see if this is still working. Yeah, it's working. It's a big, almost like a choke point for Iran for their oil infrastructure and for shipping out oil to different parts of the world, right? So if you control Karg Island, you control really like the flow of oil to China, for instance, which would be bad for China for us to have control of that area, right? Well, the rumor online, this is somebody tweeting about it here. They say, breaking, the USS Tripoli has just been spotted passing Singapore at a high rate of speed. They are rushing, this is speculation on their part, he says they're rushing to get 5,000 U.S. Special Forces and Naval Landing Group into position for a possible invasion of Karg Island, Iran. Okay? Estimated time of arrival, about a week. That's what he says. Okay? And I did fact check this a little bit. Now, this person does have a little bit of credibility. You can see, do you guys see the moth? The moth is returning. It's come from my ring light. You son of a bitch. He did tweet about that the U.S. was going to strike Karg Island, and they did. Grok says it is mostly speculation, although it does note that there is a confirmed sighting of the USS Tripoli heading at high rates of speed toward that area, right? I think Grok said it doesn't have 5,000 special forces, it has about 3,000 troops that may just be there in a support capacity, but it's heading that way, so people are starting to talk about it a little bit. This is another video of the USS Tripoli. If I can pull it up here, let's unfreeze the Twitter. There we go. There it is here. They say it's essentially a light aircraft carrier with 20-plus vertical takeoff aircraft and helicopters, large landing ships, a destroyer, and 2,500 Marines, they say. A destroyer and 2,500 Marines, they say. So he seems to be putting some troops in position. Now, I think that if there's any way that Trump can avoid putting boots on the ground, I think he will aim to do that. What I've seen from Trump is that he wants to make this a very quick military action. He doesn't want to put boots on the ground. Because the big thing there is when you do that, public opinion is really going to change and people are going to die. I mean, what's really insidious about this war is that Iran has a lot of drone capability. We've already seen 6 U.S. service members die in an Iranian drone attack on a position they had in Kuwait, right? So if you put boots on the ground, there are going to be American casualties. He could be planning something like a limited U.S. action, though, to try to take control of some areas around Karg Island or the Strait of Hormuz. So that's a possibility. But that's the rumor that we have here. Very high risk. So I don't know what he'll do, but from what we've seen, at least so far, I mean, I've been surprised a little bit, a couple of times by Trump, you know, with the Maduro raid, the boldness of that, the boldness of the Iran airstrikes and invasion, and those things sort of had little warning signs that the U.S. was getting into position. So if it follows suit, then maybe this is a limited boots on the ground situation. We'll have to see. Although that would be a big, big risk for Trump. So Trump tweets here. I'll actually go to this one real quick. So this would kind of be... This is someone theorizing that everything... He's talking about the Strait of Hormuz here, okay? And he's sort of saying that everything has backfired in a way that countries didn't expect. I'll kind of go into it. He says the Strait of Hormuz was supposed to end Trump's presidency. Iran blocked it. Oil spiked. Gas prices surged. The plan was simple. Crush the American worker with inflation until the political pressures forced a retreat. But the trap inverted. The oil market has fractured into two tiers, 100 in America, 150 in Asia, China, India, Japan, South Korea. The nations that refused to send warships when Trump asked are now paying 50% more per barrel than the country that launched the war. Demand destruction has started across Asia, schools closing, workers sent home, petrol pumps running dry in Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, American refineries are actually increasing output, running on light, sweet crude that never touches Hormuz. Trump told them to help open the strait. Every single one refused. NATO said it wasn't their war. China negotiated selective passage from the destroyed regime. Japan declined. Australia declined. Now the strait is doing to them what it was designed to do to Trump. So this I thought was a really interesting theory. Just this frame that everything has sort of inverted on people. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because if there is one reason that Trump could be deploying boots on the ground in a very limited capacity, 2,500 Marines, let's say, it could be to do something like secure Kharg Island and secure control of that oil infrastructure so that you can better squeeze China. So we'll see what happens. They could also just be there in a support capacity if needed. And maybe he hasn't made up his mind yet on it. Maybe he hasn't made up his mind yet on it. All right, so that's Kharg Island. This was Trump floating out an idea about the Strait of Hormuz on Twitter. He says, I wonder what would happen if we finished off what's left of the Iranian terror state and let the countries that use it, we don't, be responsible for the so-called strait. That would get some of our non-responsive allies in gear and fast. So this was just an interesting idea. Let the countries that use it, we don't, be responsible for the so-called strait. That would get them, because then they would have, a reason to want to get involved because they would secure that asset that they all use, right? So, and I love how he says, be responsible for the so-called strait. It's like he doesn't even really, it's like he heard about it last week and he's like, whatever, why is this so important? Because apparently we don't use it too much. All right, the inversion article. What is that stuff? Guess we should talk about this. There was, did you guys see the Joe Kent? This was the Trump insider yesterday who resigned in a very public fashion from his post as the director of counterterrorism. He was in the past like a really big Trump supporter, and then all of a sudden, had supported in the past. He has all these tweets that are resurfacing, supporting action against Iran, dismantling the regime, taking out their nuclear capabilities. Well, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, yesterday, he releases this big letter saying that, Trump was great during his first term, and then he's been persuaded by bad actors like Israel and others to host a foreign invasion in the Middle East, which is what he campaigned against, and he doesn't feel like it's the right move. He wants Trump out of there. He hopes he comes to his senses, and he's going to resign from his post as counterterrorism director because he can't in good conscience continue there. Right? Well, now today we're finding out that there was actually an active investigation into him that precedes his resignation, his very public resignation yesterday, where they're looking into whether or not he leaked classified intelligence. Right? Interesting enough, he went on Tucker Carlson tonight, which I haven't seen the interview yet, but Tucker also under some fire currently for allegedly leaking, potentially, some classified intelligence to Iranians prior to the war, prior to the invasion. Okay. So that's what happened with this guy, Joe Kent. We're finding out that it might not be as noble a resignation as he'd initially led on. It may just be one of those situations where he was basically, apparently the story is he had all these security clearances, he was getting briefed on everything. A couple months ago, they stopped briefing him on things and started sort of excluding him. So he may have been on the outs for a while and in some potential hot water over these leaks, over these leaks, basically, for a minute here, and then finally just decided, well, I'm going to resign publicly and try to take some shots at Trump before I leave, before he gets flipped on me, and I'm cordoned off anymore. So that's the story on him. Flipped a little bit since yesterday. This was Fetterman. Every time I see a Fetterman video, I just like him more and more. But he was talking today about Democrats that have TDS.
Who do you think leads the Democratic Party today?
Oh, we don't have one. I think the TDS. I think that's the leader right now. You know, right now our party is governed by the TDS, and now it's made it virtually impossible, without being punished as a Democrat, to agree something's good. I agree with the other side, and I would define that by epic fury. I am literally the only Democrat in America in Congress that I've come across that's saying, I think it's a great thing to break and destroy the Iranian regime. I think it's entirely appropriate to hold them accountable. And what's strange to me, that every single Democrat that's run for president and anyone that I know in Congress says we must never allow them to acquire a nuclear bomb. When that happens, why not celebrate that or acknowledge that?
Yeah, it's a good point. He has broken with the Democrats on a lot of stuff recently, and this is just another thing. He's one of the few Democrats who supports the Iran invasion. I do find it ironic and funny that it takes a stroke survivor to point out the brain damage amongst his fellow Democrats. Right? That stroke did something where he's now the only Democrat that can see the TDS around him, apparently. Something ironic about the stroke survivor calling out the brain damage. But like in Fetterman. Really interesting, because when you hear him in interviews too, he still can't quite, his sentences, the words will mix up, you know. But he generally gets his point across. You can sort of see where he's going, but the words will just slip in odd orders. It's interesting. I hope he does okay and gets better, because I like people that fight through stuff, so I like that. What else we got here? This was just something from today, from me. Let me pull it up. What was it? Oh. So, let me pull it up here. I posted a video on TikTok, and this is not the first time that it's happened, right? Where I post a video that I think is pretty innocuous. This particular one was, Nick Shirley's been doing the videos. Was it Nick Shirley? There were a couple of them. This one, I think, was actually James O'Keefe. He'd gone undercover as a homeless person in Los Angeles to expose there was actually this voter fraud case where there were these people in Los Angeles, I think, who worked with an NGO, who were illegally paying the homeless to sign petitions, to register to vote. It's totally illegal, right? And he caught them all on camera. He's got all the footage, right? And he, I think, counted like 28 different instances of people being caught in this illegal voting scheme, right? So I made a video about it. And in addition to showing his footage and talking about that, I made some comments about, well, how much does this increase your confidence that something like that didn't happen back in 2020, right? So I think because I mentioned the untouchable 2020 election, the election that shall never be questioned in all of history, right? because I dared say those words. Their algorithm apparently picked up on it. And this is what happens when you're on TikTok, and this is what happens quite frequently on my account, is the video gets pulled completely, gets shut down, nobody can see it, and then I will get a strike on the account, which is probably one of the reasons why my Instagram account's like 17,000 followers right now, and my TikTok's like 4,000, because at a certain point, you get so many of those strikes, they just kind of stop showing your stuff to people, you know? I also put the video on Instagram, and on Instagram, I believe it had something like 30 views, whereas typically my videos, I'm not saying I'm great or anything, a lot of the time they'll get 3,000, 4,000 views, but usually seeing it start off with like 20 to 30 views is a red flag. So in other words, Instagram will sort of do the same thing that TikTok's doing. They just sort of soft censor it, where it's like maybe they don't put a strike on your account, but they reduce the reach of stuff that they don't like, right? Mr. Zuckerberg himself, who was complicit in a lot of those weird things that happened back in 2020, right? YouTube probably doesn't like it either when people talk about it. So in any case, here's what they cite on TikTok as being my community guidelines violation. They cite their policy on civic and election integrity, right? Elections are important moments of community conversation and promote the values of an open society. Yeah. We do not allow misinformation about civic and electoral processes, regardless of intent. This includes misinformation about how to vote, registering to vote, eligibility requirements of candidates, the processes to count ballots and certify elections, and the final outcome of an election. So, questioning the final outcome of an election would be considered misinformation? It's funny, all these places say that election integrity means never questioning an election. That seems like the opposite of election integrity. Am I missing something here? We look down on countries like Venezuela, right? And we mock them for having elections which have outcomes, which then the people question, and we mock those elections and say, oh, it's a banana republic, right? And those elections are fake, and those poor people, right? I feel like questioning the outcome of an election is the most American thing you can do. It's the most democratic thing that you can do. Not to pretend like every election is foolproof and you can't question it. That's the least democratic thing that you can do. So they've got it exactly backwards, or maybe they don't. Maybe they don't care whether they have it backwards or not. They want to protect a specific narrative or a specific outcome for whatever reason. But it just goes to show, if you say the wrong thing, one of these still, and this is in 2026, this is 6 years after that election, and they still will not let you question the results of the election. I kind of understood. I mean, what happened was, at the time of these elections in 2020, I think people got freaked out at these social media companies, number one, and they thought, man, if people start questioning the results of this election, it could lead to a civil war, right? So, I'm a free speech absolutist, okay? So my view is, if you got to question an election and it turns out it leads to a civil war, then that's where it leads. You follow the free speech where it goes. It's not going to help the situation any by censoring somebody. It's only going to make the people that censor it look way more suspicious. So I'm going to do everything in my power to shut this BS down, what's happening here. Not because I'm such a big account, I'm not, and not because I'm so good, but because this is bullshit and this shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't have happened during the election, which was part of the problem. It shouldn't be happening now. It's absolute garbage. It's trash. So I will use all of my persuasive skills to bring this down. It's just starting. Join the show. I'm well trained. I won't go into it, but in any case, what else we got rest of the evening? Let's see. I think that was mostly it for this stuff. I should have had more time on the jokes tonight. I'll try to write them at work tomorrow and get them on point. There were some really good setups there that could have been better. They could have been better, the last two in particular. Oh, this was kind of cool. I should mention this. This was just fun. I want to go with Fetterman again. I should just have him as a wallpaper. Where'd it go? This was from Polymarket. You guys know what Polymarket is? It's called a prediction market. If you're unaware of what Polymarket is, and they're like a sports bettor, right? An online sports gambling site. But instead of sports, you gamble on politics and the outcome of certain elections and stuff. And they do all sorts of weird stuff, like will Gavin Newsom hold up? And they do all sorts of weird stuff. Will Gavin Newsom say something bad about black people tonight, right? Like whatever it is, like you can bet on all these predictions, right? There's people that love it. It's actually really fun. I haven't tried it myself, like with actual money yet, but I think that you can't like use their site in the U.S. at the moment. You have to use Kalshi or something. But anyways, apparently Polymarket has opened or will open the world's first sports bar, but for situation monitoring. For those guys that like to monitor the situation, see what's going on in the world. So it's opening in DC this Friday. It includes live X feeds, flight radars, Bloomberg terminals, and Polymarket feeds. I'm excited just talking about it. I'm bummed it's not in San Diego. I would totally go to this place. This seems like so much fun. Look at this thing. Oh my God, that looks fun. With the globe, I would totally monitor the situation there. I don't even drink anymore, but I'd be chilling at that bar. That's kind of what we got going on over here. There, I'll show you. This is the situation as you see it. You got the laptops. Second laptop with my show notes. Ring camera. Look at that bad boy. That I use for the chat sometimes. So I'll mirror it as a third screen and put the chat up there. Just so that I can see like what people are saying. But not on TikTok tonight. I don't think I have to open that chat window. So I think that's it for tonight, guys. It's pretty I mean, one more thing before we go is just Trump saying that we don't need NATO. I guess that's a little important. We probably should cover it a little bit. This was the tweet from Trump. He says, the United States has been informed by most of our NATO allies that they don't want to get involved in a military operation against the terrorist regime of Iran in the Middle East. This, despite the fact that almost every country strongly agreed with what we were doing, and that Iran cannot in any way, shape, or form be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. I am not surprised by their action, however, because I always considered NATO, where we spend hundreds of billions of dollars per year protecting these same countries, to be a one-way street. We'll protect them, but they will do nothing for us, in particular in a time of need. How's he wrong? I detect zero lies. They're not doing anything. I detect zero lies. They're a bunch of wimps at the end of the day. They just don't want anything. They don't want people to think bad of them. They stay out of everything. Why are we protecting them? For what? So they do nothing in return? Why are we protecting them? Fortunately, he says we have decimated Iran's military. Their navy's gone, Air Force, blah, blah, blah. Most importantly, their leaders at every level are gone, never to threaten us, our Middle Eastern allies, or the world again. Because of the fact that we have had such military success, we no longer need or desire the NATO countries' assistance. We never did. Likewise, Japan, Australia, or South Korea. In fact, speaking as President of the United States of America, by far the most powerful country in the world, we do not need the help of anyone. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And somebody mentions here, and the trap closes. Next up, a meeting with China. So this person insinuating that Trump's plan is to end old alliances with NATO countries that he sees as not being useful to us anymore and basically using us for money and protection and not giving anything in return, and possibly forging new global alliances with countries like China. So we'll see. And this is a running theme of Trump basically using this opportunity to point out that NATO is effectively useless. So yeah, we'll see. All right. Thanks for joining, and have a good rest of your night, everyone.